What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. All right, guys, we're gonna go over some difficult stuff today, some stuff that you need to know, because you know what, you don't have a clue. And I know you saw the title of the video and you're like, what do you mean I don't have a clue? Here's the deal. Fox bodies, in case you hadn't noticed, in the past, I don't know, a couple of years, have not only shot up 150,000% in popularity, but they've also shot up in value. People looking for them. I mean, guys, it is nuts. Everybody, and I mean everybody, is looking for these cars. So we're gonna do another video, and this is not really the Fox Body 101 or anything, but there's not a good bit of information out there for people who are new to the hobby and are wanting to get into a Fox Body, because they're hot right now. I mean, period, guys, they're hot. So we're gonna go over a few things, just Fox Body stuff that maybe you knew, maybe you didn't know, but you need to know. And hopefully this is helpful for all my OG guys. This, you know, this is common knowledge for you, but for all the new guys, you need to watch this. All right, so let's wrap for a minute. Let's say you're going to buy a car and you don't have a lot of money. You're gonna get a roller, something that, you know, has no motor, no transmission, something like that. And maybe it's got some good parts, maybe it's this, maybe it's rust free, maybe it just needs paint, whatever. You don't know, you don't have a clue what you're looking at. So we're going to start with a few basic things. So let's say you don't know if the car is a V8 car or not. Well, I'm going to give you a couple of tips real quick to show you how you can tell. All right, so we're going to take this Calypso right here, just for an example. And yes, there are other ways to tell, but I'm going to give you the easy ones. Okay, these are going to be the easy ones. Okay, fastest way you can look at this, even though it has no engine, no dash, no cluster, how can I immediately tell this is a 4-cylinder? Look at your brake booster. Teeny little baby brake booster. See how small that is? This is a 4-cylinder car. Second reason you can tell. Look at your vacuum tree. Easiest, quickest way to tell. Now, let's go over and look at an actual V8 car. See how big and thick that brake booster is? This is a V8 car. Look at your vacuum tree. This is a V8 car. Very, very, the quickest, the easiest, you don't have to lay on your back way to tell right there. All right, so that's real quick way just to tell if you're dealing with a V8 car. There's a lot of other ways, guys. You can look for the quad shocks. You can look at the cluster. There's a lot of different ways. All right, so we kind of got that knocked out of the park. And, you know, at this point, maybe you're not worried about that. Maybe you're worried about rust. So let me get this out of the way. Let's talk about rust. All right, so when people talk about looking at the shock towers, this is what you're looking for right here. Now, granted, there may be an engine in here, but you can still see down in here. You see the rust on this car? Yeah, that's your frame. That's where your K-member bolts up, and they rust right there. This side, not quite as bad, but it is. That's where you want to look. You want to look here. This is one of the biggest points. That's a structural area, and that can cause you major damage. Like your K-member can actually come loose from the body. That's a good place to look. Feel around on your floor pans. You see up here, this bad boy is solid, like it's metal. But let's get back here, and as we move the glass, look at that. See that? So you feel like you did your due diligence up here and beat on the floor, and it's solid. It is. But look here. You got no floor at all. Now, a floor pan's a lot easier to fix than a strut tower, but still, that's going to be a lot of work. You have to replace that entire floor pan. So you have to be thorough when you're looking for rust. And again, you look out here, this car is solid. This is a Southern car. You know, you will get rust up here. That's not a horrible spot on these cars. But you look around here, it's like, man, this car's solid. Like, no rust anywhere. But what we got here? Hold on. Yeah. Rust. This side's even worse. And again, this car, if it was all put together, you know, it wasn't a stripped down bare shell, you wouldn't be able to see that because your bumper cover there and the bumper support would be there. So again, this is one of those times where you need to get up and under the car and look at it. And I don't care if you got to bring a jack stand and jack, whatever you got to do, you got to look for these kind of things or you will get smoked, especially you guys up north. Now, look for your sunroof and your T-tops. If they have those, you definitely need to be checking these floor pans because these things will leak and cause you problems. Real quick tip for you factory sunroof guys. Bet you didn't know, or maybe you did. You see each corner, these lines, those will clog up with debris, leaves, limbs, all that stuff. Blow these out. They come out down there, and those are the drains for your sunroof. Blow those out or they will back up, causing rust basically everywhere in the car. So quick tip there. All right, let's continue. All right guys, so we're going to come over and look at this car real quick. Let's say maybe you're going to get a good deal on it, didn't find much rust, anything like that. Again, you've got to be careful. So let's look at a couple of things. We got custom mods here. We're cut up right here. I mean, we're also painted, as you can see. This car was red at some point in its life. You need to be very leery of that stuff unless you're just amazing at fabricating and you know, you really know your way around a car. You need to worry about that stuff because while that doesn't look like a big deal, to actually fix that right is a really big freaking deal. When you're dealing with engine bays that have been painted like this, what's hiding underneath here? What's hiding? Could they be covering up rust? Could they be covering up past accident damage? I mean, there's a lot of stuff that is going to be, you know, probably hiding underneath all that wonderful AutoZone rattle can. So be very, very, very careful when you look at stuff like this. Just because it's got a fresh satin black rattle can paint job under the hood does not mean that it was cared for and loved and good to go. Chances are there's something hiding underneath it. All right guys, so let's say you found a nice southern rust-free car and it doesn't look that bad. Like maybe it needs paint or something like that. Let's talk about a few things you don't want to mess with. All right guys, as we're looking in the sun here, I hope the light's picking that up. Like, I really hope it's picking that up. So everybody can deal with a little bit of body damage. That's not a huge deal. Can you go buy another door? Sure. You can go buy another door. Can you go buy another fender? Yeah. They're just, you know, like, that's not a big deal. Like, I've got a fender over there. Not a big deal. This is your quarter. And as you can see, that's all Bondo. And I know the camera's not picking that up. As you can see, it's flaking off. And then you look under here. Here's the situation, and I'm pretty sure my body guys will agree with me. To put a quarter on a hatchback or a notchback Mustang, really a quarter on anything pretty much, is a very major undertaking. It's very time consuming, it's very labor intensive, and if you don't get it 100% right, it's going to look terrible. When you're dealing with a accident in the rear quarter area, I would probably just stay away from it. And again, unless you're a seasoned body guy. I mean, you'll get shops that do work like this. I mean, it's, yeah, it's bad. So I hope the camera's picking this up. Just stay away from stuff like that. All right, so what's something else? here's the deal. These cars, old. They're very old. Your wiring, the electronics, the plugs, the switches, the buttons, they're all old. So test all your stuff, see what works, see what doesn't. Be thorough, because you just never know. You just never know. Heater cores, watch for those. They'll be bypassed a lot of times. And the quickest way you can tell a bypassed heater core is you'll have a loop hose going from here to here. Need to watch for that. And if it's done like that, then you're gonna have to put a heater core. So very common, guys. It's part of stuff that goes wrong with these cars. So you need to check with that. And of course, to get that heater core out, you got to pull the dash. But again, all this stuff is old. These wirings, excuse me, wires, 30 plus years old. These connectors, 30 plus years old. They've been hacked up, they've been modified. People have taken stuff off, put stuff on, made them a race car, put them back street car, swapped them. There's a million different things. You got to just check. You got to do your due diligence and see what else. See what you can find. If you're not willing to do any work on it, I don't suggest buying one of these cars. If you're looking for something that's perfect, I don't suggest buying one of these cars, even if it's low miles. Like we discussed in the video last week, you know, cars that have sat for a long time, gonna have problems. It's old. It's gonna have problems. Just manage your expectations is the best thing I can tell you with these cars. And you know, just like some of the cars we've done in the shop, just because they're extremely nice and had a ton of money put into them, they're still not perfect. Now, if you want to go spend money like they do on TV and, you know, put $200,000, $150,000, $200,000 into one of those cars, fine. At that money, yeah, I expect perfection. I do. But for what you're going to spend for a Fox body these days, you're not going to get anything near perfect. You are going to have to put in wrench time. It's part of it. Or you're going to have to pay somebody to do some wrenching on it. There is no way around that. And if that doesn't sound like what you want to do, I'd go buy a new one. That's just me. Basically, guys, you have to do your due diligence. You have to look the car over. You have to inspect it thoroughly. Take somebody along that knows. Whatever you got to do. Because, again, these are old cars. They need work. They need love. They need things replaced. And they will need things going down, you know, going further. They will need things that are replaced. That is part of old cars. It's kind of one of those unsung, unsaid rules, unspoken rules about the hobby. So even you go buy a 67 Chevrolet Camaro for $50,000, it's still gonna need something. Doesn't matter, that's just cars. So I hope this helps. I hope this gave you some food for thought. I've got other videos like this here on the channel. Enjoy the hobby. Be ready to get in and get dirty and work on your car, but also be able to have fun, make memories with, you know, your kids, your family, your friends, whatever. This is a fun hobby, and especially this segment of it, the Fox body segment, is growing exponentially. And you know, these cars are getting harder to find, they're getting more expensive. So, you know, hope this helps, and if it did, big thumbs up. Make sure you smash that subscribe button. I'll catch you on the next one.